Hello, everyone. My name is Josh Brown, and I am a sole practitioner with a practice focused on entrepreneurs and franchise law. I help entrepreneurs build businesses that scale and grow. And from this niche, I created and host a podcast on iTunes called Franchise Euphoria. I've immersed myself extensively into the online and digital space through my blog, my podcast, and through other online communities that have really expanded my reach, my network, and provided me with many opportunities, some even outside of just practicing law. And I share all of this with you today through this presentation, which was a recent presentation that I gave to a Bench Bar Conference that was held in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I'll touch on all this a bit later, but I mentioned it at the outset because it really touches on the essence of what I'm speaking about today, and that is you as an attorney must bet on yourself. I mean, I have probably talked with 15 or 20 attorneys over the last several months, and it's just kind of sad to me that there's a lot of attorneys out there, especially young attorneys, who kind of feel desperate, kind of feel lost in the practice, kind of feel like they don't know why they went to law school, or they've lost the reason why they went to law school. And many of them just feeling like, since there's not a big firm out there ready, willing, and able to hire them, that they just have no place in the legal profession. Well, today's presentation is going to touch upon all of that and how you as an attorney really need to be thinking about and betting on yourself. I mean, it was not until I made the conscious decision to craft my legal career through my own lens rather than through the lens of others that I was able to get onto a path that is right for me. And I think the same will hold true for you. There are so many practical practice tips that we as attorneys and people who've, like myself, who've gone out, started their own firms, that I could talk about. And while all these are important, I really think they're secondary to something far more important, and that is learning to bet on yourself and getting crystal clear on what you want to do in a legal practice. Above and beyond any single tool that I will mention or could mention today, you must be willing to bet on yourself if you want a happy life and an exciting and satisfying career. Then you must pick and utilize the tools that best allow you to do that. According to careerbliss.com, I guess unsurprisingly, the number one unhappiest job in America is that of an associate attorney. Geez, that's real shocking. I know for any of us who've been associate attorneys, we can certainly resonate with that. I mean, despite the fact that the average pay is significantly high, it's still ranked as one of the unhappiest jobs in America. I mean, how sad is that? And while I'm sure there are many things that can be attributed to this, here are two things that I know contribute: a lack of passion for what you do and a lack of purpose for where you're going. Too many attorneys are stuck in jobs they hate. They're stuck working for other attorneys they don't like, or clients they can't stand, or doing work they don't enjoy, or even, God help you, a combination of all these things. I used to be stuck like this, but I figured out a way out, and I'm here to help you with that so that you can hopefully find a way out. In 2006, I graduated law school with a law degree, a job, and a naive optimism about what my future might look like. I thought I'd work my way through the ranks of a law firm, become a partner, and live happily ever after, and I soon realized how foolish all of that thinking was. I mean, not that it was impossible to do. I mean, certainly it was plausible, if not probable, but it was never what I really wanted. And yet through the first 4 years as a practicing attorney, I always wondered why I wasn't happy. Why was I always asking myself, is this it? Why was I daydreaming about a career and legal life? It was so different from what I was actually experiencing. I now know why I was thinking those thoughts, but back then it was a struggle, a frustrating struggle to figure it all out. I worked at several different law firms for an appellate judge and gained tremendous experience along the way, but I never felt happy or satisfied about what I was doing or where I was headed. And yet I was scared. Now, I mean, actually, I was terrified. I was scared of failing for sure. But I was terrified of letting my family down. After all, I have a wife, and I now have 2 children. I had 1 child at the time. And what if it all didn't work? I mean, these feelings are so real, and I experience them on a deep level. But I credit 2 things for freeing me up to take the leap. First, the stress of continuing to do what I was doing and where I was doing it became greater than the stress and thought of going on my own. And number 2, the support of my wife and my family. And while many people work jobs they don't like, for me, I simply could not get comfortable with it. I kept thinking I sure as hell did not go into 6-figure law school debt so that I could do work I don't enjoy. That makes no sense to me on any level. It was not until I took hold of my own future, took the time to really figure out what lit my fire, what I was passionate about, and started to create a vision, my own vision for my future, that I really started down my truest path. Part of that vision was the realization that how I practiced was just as important as what I practiced. And for me, I needed to do things my own way. Today is all about finding what lights your fire and how you take that fire and build a profitable law practice in your own vision. Once you figure this out, the rest is much easier. If you don't bet on yourself, nobody else will, and you will be stuck in the same rut that most attorneys find themselves in. And trust me, the world just does not need any more miserable and cranky lawyers. But here's the truth. Betting on yourself is hard work. It'll challenge you, frustrate you, scare you, and call into doubt everything you once thought certain about who you are and what you stand for. But doing it will separate you from the pack and help you create a career that you enjoy, are proud of, and one that works well within your own lifestyle. So the question is, how do you do this? Well, first you need to ask yourself, what is it that you're passionate about? I mean, nothing is off limits when you ask this. It doesn't matter if it's legal related, business related, sports related, arts related. It just doesn't matter. The important part is that you write it all down. Once you have a list of all the things that get you going, get you excited, and that you know you enjoy doing, make a separate list of all your work or work-related experiences. This includes non-legal work and things other than just jobs. Have you volunteered with organizations or done work-related things that have impacted you, but you may not have been paid for? Think back throughout your life about the work experiences you've had. Once you list all of these, write down what you enjoyed about each of the experiences, and then in a separate column, what you did not enjoy. Once you do this, you'll have a list of things you're passionate about and a list of your work and work-related experiences and what you enjoyed and did not enjoy about those experiences. One of the things that will happen as you go through this exercise is that you will start to notice patterns and themes. You'll begin to see as you look back on your experiences that you've been moving in certain directions throughout your life, moving towards things and away from things. Yeah, I realized after doing this exercise that I really enjoyed working with entrepreneurs and helping them start and grow businesses. That fits perfectly into what I am doing now in franchising. The insight you gain from looking back on the experiences you've already been through will be powerful and insightful. Pay attention to what you find. Pay attention to the things that you did and are doing that are reminiscent of who you are and what you like to do, and you'll be on your way. I think the single greatest thing that I did that gave me the momentum and the push to launch my own practice and build it the way I wanted to build it was this. I made the conscious decision to walk away from the life others envisioned for me and into the life that I knew I was meant to live. My hope is that through this exercise, you will begin to do the same thing for yourself if you have not already done so. Well, some of you may be thinking at this point, passion smashing. I live in reality and I need to make money and provide for my family. And for those thinking that, guess what? You're right. Passion by itself is not, nor has it ever been, the answer. It is merely one of 3 circles that you must pay attention to. The second circle is proficiency. What is it that you are proficient in or can become proficient in? For me, I'm passionate about golf. I love playing it, but I'm not trying to go on the PGA Tour. Why? Well, I don't have the skill set required to do so, nor can I acquire it. So after you determine what you enjoy, what your passion is, you must take stock of what it is you're competent at doing or what you can become competent in. This is an important distinction, especially for attorneys. For whatever reason, many attorneys I speak to are afraid of branching out into new territories or learning new areas of law for fear that they might commit malpractice. Well, nothing about being an attorney says that we can't learn new things. Ethically, we're merely required to take the time to learn them before we start giving advice. When I decided to focus on franchising, the truth is I didn't know anything about franchise law. I knew something about the business side of franchising, but I knew nothing about the law. But you know what? I learned it. I started reading everything I could on franchising, subscribed to blogs focused on franchising, publications dedicated to the franchise space. I reached out to other attorneys who practice in this area and non-attorney brokers, consultants, and others that are in the franchise space. And I did a lot of online research. In doing this, I quickly discovered a few things. First, there aren't that many attorneys in Indiana focused on franchising, and at least as its own category. Number two, I learned a tremendous amount about the different aspects of franchising, which helped me hone in on the areas I wanted to focus on within the franchise niche. And three, I realized that I knew more than most people when I spoke on the topic. Additionally, having this specific area to focus on opened me up to think outside of the box in terms of what I would do to market my practice and build up clients. For example, once I decided to focus on franchising, I remember sitting in my office at the firm I was working at the time and making the conscious decision that at the next cocktail party or networking event, instead of telling people I'm a small business attorney when asked, I would say I'm a franchise attorney. Very quickly, I learned that this made a huge difference in the response I got from people. Previously, when I would say small business attorney, the reaction was sort of like, okay, you and 1,000 other attorneys. But when I said franchise attorney, I consistently got one of two different responses. Either, hey, that's great, I've thought about buying a franchise, or, hey, I know someone who's interested in franchising to introduce you to. I realized through doing this the power in phrasing and differentiating myself from the pack. Additionally, my focus in the franchise space directly led me to launching my own podcast called Franchise Euphoria, which has become a top-rated iTunes podcast and has opened up a number of opportunities for me. I would have never thought to do this if I didn't take the time to get focused on what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. So don't shortchange yourself. Don't think just because you don't know an area of law that you can't learn it. But then take the time to actually learn it. If it's in an area that you like, you'll find it quite enjoyable to learn about. And if you don't find enjoyment in an area, well, that's a pretty good sign that you should find another area to focus on. In short, you must find a niche that works well for your strength zone, meaning the areas you are naturally drawn to, good at, and in which your life and legal experiences can add value to others, and focus on this area for your marketing and the furtherance of your practice. To be sure, things will come up outside of this area, and for those things, you can decide on a case-by-case basis whether you take them on. But the only way you will differentiate yourself from the masses is through your own uniqueness. And your uniqueness is made up of what makes you stand out. What is it about you that's different? Perhaps you think through issues differently. Perhaps your life experiences are such that you bring different perspectives to the table. Maybe you have a business background that makes you unique in certain areas. Focus on your unique strengths, and trust me, you will gain so much more in life and business. You should spend 85% of your time operating in your strength zone, 10% of your time developing new skills, and 5% of your time working on your weaknesses. This is difficult to do, but it is especially difficult for us attorneys to do. We're taught through law school and through the general practice of law to focus and improve upon our weaknesses. I'm going to suggest that that's really not the right strategy. While it's noble to get better at something you're weak at, it's smarter and adds right to your bottom line when you focus on your strengths. The compounding effect of focusing on your strengths has much greater upside than focusing and improving on your weaknesses. I'd much rather improve upon what I'm good at so that I can be great at it, as opposed to making myself average at something I'm not so good at to start. But focusing on your strengths and having passion won't get you too far unless you have a way to make money. So the third circle is profit. How do you take what you love and are good at and make money doing it? Well, making money and most importantly, keeping money is obviously vital to your business. We all want to do that. And the amazing thing is, in this day and age, there are so many ways to do it. There are many ways to make money in law. Once you have a clear picture of the type of practice you want to focus on, and you're confident in your abilities, you can now think about all the different opportunities you have to help people and get paid to help people. Most attorneys default to the billable hour or other alternative billing methods, flat fees, etc. However, I would encourage you to think outside the box a bit and start thinking about how you can leverage your expertise in different ways. This really depends on the type of practice you have and where your focus lies, but I know for me, I focus a great deal online with digital products, ebooks, podcasts, and I'm starting to put together some videos like this, YouTube videos, and packages of products to sell. It's never been easier to do this. Technology has come so far and will continue to go much, much further. How exactly you profit from your practice is really dependent on a number of things, but don't get stuck thinking that the only way for you to make money is through providing legal services. Unless, of course, that's all you want to do. If you want to create multiple streams of income that complement your practice and add additional and consistent revenue, it's certainly possible to do so. What I speak about today, I know is possible for you because I'm doing it myself and I continue to do it each and every day. But the fact remains, whether you have your own law firm like me or you work at a bigger firm or perhaps somewhere in between, you'll experience stress, concerns, ups and downs, mistakes, failures, and everything else that goes along with life and business. But let me tell you, this is all part of the journey. What a great profession we've chosen. Each and every day, we have the opportunity to help people, to help them reach their goals or work through some of their most difficult challenges. Figure out what it is that you enjoy helping people with and go do it. As Steve Jobs famously stated, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. This approach has never let me down, and it has made all the difference in my life. End quote. Your law degree is so much more than a six-figure piece of paper. You have skills and expertise to offer the world. You have likes and dislikes. You're drawn to things and move away from things each and every day. Don't spend your life avoiding your calling for fear of failing. We all fail. I fail each and every day in some form or fashion. But I learn from these failures and move on. I fail forward. As soon as you begin to do this and learn to bet on yourself, I promise you, things will eventually fall into place and you will be better for it. Well, I hope you found this little YouTube presentation based off of a Bench Bar Conference presentation that I gave helpful. And if you did, I'd love to know. I love meeting and hearing from other attorneys doing all sorts of cool stuff. So please shoot me an email at josh@indyfranchiselaw.com. And I'd love to meet you and get to know you. So thanks for tuning in and listening. Really appreciate it.